comes and sees.
Robert, what's this preparation bit like for Mikey? I know it's obvious he's moving up and he's fighting a bigger fighter. I heard he's been sparring Falcao. How's that been going?
Look, that's the big difference. He's definitely sparring bigger guys, Falcao and Carlos Adames. They're both pretty heavy right now, but they're giving him good work. Falcao has been giving him really good work, and Mikey's been able to hang in there with him. So it's Alexis Rocha, who's also very talented. One of the top prospects, welterweight. So that's a big difference.
How's Mikey carrying the weight? How's he?
Well, look, it's pretty interesting because we didn't expect him to be able to do what he's doing in the ring with these guys. There's times where he plans out to push him back and back him up, and he's able to do it. And we asked Falcao, did you purposely let him do it? He's like, no, I can't back him up. I can't. He's just too strong. Falcao tells us, he just can't do it. It's that Mikey's just too strong right now.
How about movement-wise?
Oh, that's one thing that we're doing a lot. Obviously going side to side, a lot of lateral movement, and he's been doing it perfectly.
What concerns you guys most about the fight coming up on the 16th?
Well, look, Mikey's been there, many championship fights. Obviously, this is the biggest challenge, bigger guy, heavier guy. But now, to this point, at where we're at in training, nothing really concerns us, man. We know, he's going to be the heavier guy in the ring, but I don't think he's not going to be the better, the smarter guy, and that's if we have a concern, maybe it's going to be 10, 12 pound difference, but these guys have 20-pound difference on Mikey right now, and they haven't been able to do much.
I've come to know Mikey as a pretty technical type of fighter, very sound, technical. When he gets in the ring, what do you expect from? Do you expect that same technicalities or technical fighting from him? Is that what you guys are training for?
We're definitely gonna do that, especially the first few rounds, just to figure out what ERROL SPENCE has is bringing into the fight. But if having to back him up and having to fight on the inside is necessary, then we're gonna do it. Mikey's prepared to do it. Huh?
Is he already on weight?
He was on weight when he took the fight. That's the problem. Actually, he does walk around with 155, 158. So we haven't really been trying to cut any weight yet. So if he has to lose 8 pounds, before the weigh-in, then that won't be a problem. But we're not even focused on the weight right now. He should be 5, 6, 7 pounds.
Robert, if there's some talk out there that ERROL's even been beating up on light heavyweights and heavyweights in sparring. If that's true, what do you make of that?
Well, that's good. I don't know who he's been sparring. We're telling you guys, Mike's sparring. Silver medalist in the Olympics, middleweight. He's sparring, Adames, who are, hell of a fighters, So I don't know who he's beating, but Mikey could beat up by heavyweights too if you guys step in the ring with him. You know what I mean?
Robert, what was the biggest difference that you noticed when Mikey came back down from snack? Obviously, he was bigger, but just I guess in the training aspect.
Well, look, it was just a different motivation, mentality. He needed that. He hadn't, he never done that before. And when I told him, that we were gonna have to do something like that. He was okay with it, but coming back, he was excited. He was happy. He enjoyed it, and he obviously feels stronger. He is stronger. But it's mostly his mentality is also much stronger now, more positive.
Do you feel the weight in the punches?
I do feel it. Oh yeah, I feel a difference, definitely. Difference? He says he doesn't, but I do feel it.
He was doing a lot of fast twitch muscle training up there. Do you see a difference in his speed?
Yeah, his speed, his footwork, everything's just much better now.
How would you say power-wise, when he throws punches, does he feel like he has middleweight power?
Well, look.
You trained a lot of guys.
I've trained a lot of guys, and they, if I'm working mitts with a middleweight, well, obviously they're heavier. Falcao walking around 180, so I'm gonna feel the punch a little bit heavier. Mikey's probably around 55 right now, so the the difference I'm gonna feel. But Mikey's punches are more like, I don't know. I could say, it's just the way he turns it or something that, it's not as heavy, but it feels. I feel it in my arms.
Stays with you.
Yeah, there you go. Something like that. Crisp punches.
It's like more like a crack, like
exactly.
a whip crack.
Exactly.
You guys are going up there obviously to win. But do you feel like this is a situation where no matter the outcome of the fight, Mikey can't lose?
Well, look, we know that that's probably the situation, but we're going out there to win because I know Mikey could win, and there's no way in our mind that we think we're coming back with a loss.
From the time Mikey first brought up this idea of fighting Spence, how have your feelings about his chances of winning evolved over time?
Well, look, at first, the reason we were against the fight, not because we don't think he could win. We just think that all the fighters that have done it little by little, moved up in weight, they've done it at the proper time, against the right opponents, different stuff like that. But Mikey making that decision, of course we first try to convince him, there's so much at 135 and 140 that he could do in the next 2-3 years, and then eventually obviously go for his 5th division world title. But he wanted to do it, and he's seen it a year ago when Spence was fighting Peterson, and now that I'm working as a trainer to see what we have to do to be able to win the fight, I see a lot of things, and I see why Mikey made that choice. Other boxing fans, you guys, see Spence being a powerful guy, knocking guys out, but as a trainer, it's just totally different when you study an opponent, and you see things that your fighter could do or things that your fighter shouldn't do, punches that your fighter should stay away from, and I think Mikey has a great chance.
Why do you think he wanted this? How much of this do you think is kind of financially motivated as opposed to maybe legacy motivated?
I don't think it's more. I think it's more of a legacy. I think Mikey took 2.5 years off, and he wants to catch up pretty much. If he would have never taken those 2.5 years off, by now he probably would have accomplished a lot, but maybe not at welterweight. So he'd probably be tired and sick of the sport, maybe because of all the politics involved. Now that he's in control of his career, he's got more goals. He wants to accomplish so much, and his 5th world title is going to be huge. And believe me, he's going to go after the 6th one. I guarantee you that, because that's just the way Mikey is.
It seems like right in every division right now, there probably isn't as much depth as say there was when you were fighting, right? Where, every division was 4, 5, 6 guys deep. Do you find it unfortunate in some ways that he has to kind of make this jump 12 pounds north to, kind of establish how good he is?
Well, look, there is other fights at 35 or 140 that could prove, what he wants to prove, but it's just right now with different promoters and TV networks that you just can't make those fights happen. Even if you want them, or even if the other guy's calling it out and that's the fight I want, he knows that fight's not going to happen anytime soon. So Mikey didn't want to wait. Mikey wanted to go after the best challenge out there, and it was easy to make. They both fight for PBC, so that was the easiest fight to make.
Did it surprise you at all that Mikey had that type of motivation in him? Because I think the impression that he's given people, right, especially after the Top Rank thing, is he's a smart business guy. He's maybe, he can kind of take his emotions out of situations, but it kind of seems like this is a thing, again, like you said, it's kind of more legacy driven. Right.
Well, that's, Mikey wants to be remembered as one of the best, maybe the best of this time, and that's what he wants. That's what he has in mind, and I think that's why he decided to choose this fight. Other guys that move up in weight obviously look for maybe, even though at welterweight that might not be an easiest one out there, but we could have maybe waited a little bit longer and make the right choice. But Mikey wanted to fight the best, and because he wants to be recognized as the best. He wants to be going out in history, and 100 years from now, people to remember that Mikey was one of the best.
Did he always have that in him?
I think he got that after that 2.5-year layoff. So he got that fire that before he never, even when he won titles, he beat Salido, he beats Rocky Martinez. For him, it was just like another win. He never got excited about any of those wins.
Robert, could you share with us some of the things you do see in Spence that Mikey can take advantage of?
Look, Spence is a hell of a fighter, man. You know, Mikey just has to fight a very smart fight and well, pretty much a perfect fight. Spence is fast, strong. He's obviously going to be the bigger man. So there's, there's not much, but inside the ring, Mikey will take advantage of those little things.
What's the reaction you've gotten from like the boxing public? Just trainers, fighters, kind of like talking about this fight.
Lately, what I've been hearing lately is a lot of boxing people, a lot of fans are picking Mikey. You know, it's weird because at first nobody gave him a chance, but lately it's been more like people are coming to believe what Mikey really is and what Mikey's gonna do in the fight. And it's not gonna be easy. Like I said, Mikey has to fight a perfect fight, but I think he's ready to do it.
Sugar Ray Leonard told us yesterday. We asked him about it. He picked Mikey, and we asked him why, and he said because he's Mikey.
And that's I could tell you guys so much about Mikey, but inside the ring, just like every opponent that Mikey has faced, we obviously talk after the fights. We go to the locker rooms and talk. And one thing they've always said is, man, until you're inside the ring, you don't know what you're going into with Mikey. On the outside, Mikey's basic, it's beatable. But until you're inside the ring with him, that's the big difference. And we've known since Mikey was like 15, 16, what Mikey was doing in sparring when we used to bring him to LA. It was just, different. Not one of those fighters that would catch the attention of everybody else, but those that paid attention would see what Mikey really is.
Personally, how was this, I guess, fight for you? I mean, obviously you've been in huge fights before, but this is your brother, you know what I mean? He's in the biggest fight of his career where at first no one picked him to win. I mean, we're getting to the moment, you know what I mean? What's the gravity moment just personally for you?
Well, look, until now we're still, pretty much the same. When Fernando's days, I'm fighting on, headlining pay-per-view events then we went against Pacquiao twice, Mayweather twice. We've been in some of the biggest events, but until now I'm still pretty much the same, just like any other one. I'm sure the week of the fight, being there, obviously that's my little brother, so it's going to be huge for the family. It's just huge, the whole family. A win is going to be the biggest win, the biggest thing that could ever happen to the family.
You have all Riverside partying in this spot right
here? we get a lot of support. I know there's actually yesterday I was driving to Oxnard because I had to go to Oxnard for a funeral, and I was driving and somebody's parked right next to me and starts honking, and I go roll my window down. He's like I got my flights to Dallas. I'm gonna be there, Team Mikey, and I had no idea who he was, but we get a lot of support. That's really cool.
Speaking of Oxnard, you brought your camp from Oxnard out here. What's been the difference, and have there been any advantages coming out being?
Look, I think that was the best thing I could have done. Being in Oxnard, I just left Oxnard right now. I have friends in Oxnard.
That was a long drive.
It was a long drive. That's where I'm from, and we love Oxnard, but I think that was the best thing I could have done. I had my big gym in Oxnard with so many fighters, and I was working really good with all the Russians, we could say, Eastern European guys, with Igis Klimas. But since I made the move over here, all my fighters, they're all my fighters. I don't have to worry about having to fit them in different places. They all live here. They all do camps together. They eat together. They run together, and I'm in control. Every single fighter in here, they're my fighters. I'm not worried about their manager taking them somewhere else. Like that's what's been happening in Oxnard. Since I left. Some are with this guy, some are with the other guy, and moving around. And I would have hated that to happen if I was still there. Here I have control, man. They're all my fighters. They all love being here, and I make the decisions for them.
Robert, who's the first person to recognize greatness in Mikey?
I think it was my dad. Because at first none of us thought Mikey was going to be a boxer, and just having like 9 or 10 amateur fights, we put him in the Junior Olympics, and with 9 or 10 amateur fights, he made it to the very finals, and was beating guys that had over 100 fights. So my dad was the first one, because at that moment I wasn't too much into boxing yet. My dad was still pretty much Mikey's trainer, and he's the one that seen it and supported him 100% through Mikey's goods and bads. My dad always supported him.
You mentioned earlier. How old was he? I'm sorry, just to
Mikey, fighting in the amateur when he went to the Junior Olympics, he was like 15, because it's a 15-16 tournament. Yeah, because he was 14 when he had his first amateur fight.
You mentioned earlier that he was your little brother. When does being the older brother trump being a trainer?
When does
being the older brother trump being his trainer?
I don't get it.
When does being his older brother take over from just being his trainer?
Look, when we're in the gym, he's my little brother, but in the gym, there's none of that. I treat Mikey just like every other one of my fighters, and he knows it. All my fighters know it. He's not gonna get no more attention or extra attention because he's my brother, or because he's fighting in the biggest fight of the year, maybe, or of at least of our team. All my fighters if they need to work, then they work. That's why we start at 10 in the morning till 6 p.m. because I divide everybody at different times. Mikey gets the same attention as everybody else.
Robert, has Mikey always had another side to him? Because it seems like once the weigh-in happens, or he's face-to-face like he was with Spence a week ago, he lowers those eyebrows and he'll say a few things to them, and and let them know he's coming.
Look, Mikey's one of those few fighters that sees a lot of things and does a lot of things with their mind, with their vision. And I'm not saying he's the only one, because there's great fighters, there's great champions in the past, and maybe even right now. But Mikey tells us, there's a lot of times when he's in the ring and fighting, and he could just tell a lot from the way his opponent's breathing, the way they're breathing, the way they're moving. There's those little things that Mikey has that not every fighter has, and I think that's a big advantage.
Is his intelligence?
He's very intelligent, very intelligent.
And Robert, I know you touched on Spence earlier, but what do you do against a great body puncher like Spence? How do you offset that?
Spence has great left to the body. He's a hell of a fighter, but that's one thing we're working on. And Mikey's been able to avoid those body punches pretty well, and I'm not saying he's not going to get hit. He probably will get hit to the body, but he's going to take it.
Is six-pack coming in now that he's doing that stuff?
You know what? He's been training with his shirt, so I haven't even seen his body.
I know you said you've been focusing on movement a little more in this fight. How important is counter-punching in this
Well, look, obviously movement, like I said, movement such that, but if needed, Mikey's ready to fight on the inside too. Mikey's ready to back him up. Like I told you, there's guys that are walking around at 180. And when Mikey wants, if he just picks one round, he says, I'm going to back him up this round. Mikey does it. He backs him up, throws punches, and Falcao or Adames can't find their way out. And he's not doing it to just an amateur. He's doing it to world-class fighters. Guys, Falcao's a medalist. He's a hell of a fighter. I don't think any small lightweight would be able to do that, but Mikey's been able to do it.
Do you think Spence will be surprised by the power?
I think he's gonna be surprised, definitely.
But just to be fair, is there any way Mikey gets a knockout? Because even though he dropped Lipinets in Easter, they still went the full 12 at 35.
Well, we're not looking for a knockout, and honestly, I would probably say it goes the distance, but I know that if Mikey lands a good punch and hurts him, I think Mikey will have the power to knock him out.
Do you think this fight can make him a star close to the level that Fernando was at, and even Oscar, as Chicano guys?
Look, I think to compare him to an Oscar de la Hoya, well, Oscar was a gold medalist, the golden boy. We got to be real too. Oscar was just something we see every 100 years. But I think Mikey